Normally we talk about like more like entertainment news, but this is wildly entertaining, and these folks have been kind of going at it for a while. So, Wes Moore versus Donald Trump. I'm going to just share kind of their back and forth, and you'll be able to kind of make heads or tails of it. So let's start. Okay. This is from a few days ago. This is from Wes Moore. He tweeted at POTUS. I heard Baltimore was on your mind. We wanted to send you a formal invitation to join at Mayor BM Scott at Baltimore SAO, our local elected, law enforcement, and community for a public safety walk next month, whatever date works best for you. We hope you'll come to see how we've built strong local partnerships and use data-backed solutions to deliver staggering drops in violent crime. So that's a tweet from Wes Moore to Donald Trump. Real quick, for those that missed, we had a recent episode, it might have been last week or the week before, where we talked about Wes Moore kind of holding his ground against Donald Trump. And then maybe a few weeks ago, we talked about Wes Moore being one of the people in leadership in government, black people in government, that's actually making real change in reducing crime in their cities using programs that actually work, not just pouring money into policing, because pouring money into policing doesn't have any effect on crime. And more police officers doesn't have any effect on crime. Changing the circumstances that cause people to feel like they need to commit crimes in order to survive, that actually has a dramatic effect on crime rates in any event. So this is kind of the escalation of that. So that's the first tweet. And then Wes Moore writes a letter to Donald Trump after Donald Trump and his administration kind of poked at that tweet. The letter says, "Dear President Trump, last week you responded to my concerns about the deployment of the National Guard personnel for municipal policing in Washington, D.C. by insulting me personally from the Oval Office. So I wanted to write in order to clarify the root of my frustration and extend an invitation for you to visit Maryland, where we can discuss strategies for effective public safety policy. There is no higher priority for me as the governor of my state than the safety of my people. This is an issue of both professional and personal significance. I grew up in and around communities left behind by people in power who sought to weaponize the pain of their constituents through hollow talking points that never changed the reality on the ground. From the day I became Maryland's chief executive, I've sought a different path. We've taken an all of the above approach to public safety that addresses the root causes of crime, mobilizing state resources, building strong partnerships with local jurisdictions, prosecutors, public defenders, police officers, and advocates, and ensuring greater coordination and data sharing to deliver staggering drops in violent crime. While we are not done delivering results for the people in our neighborhoods, I am deeply encouraged by our progress. Homicides in Maryland are down statewide by 20% since my inauguration 2.5 years ago. In the first 6 months of 2025, the Baltimore Police Department continued to see double-digit reductions in gun violence, including a 22% decrease in homicides and a 19% decrease in non-fatal shootings from the year before. We are currently on track to have the lowest number of homicides in Baltimore City since we began officially keeping crime statistics. Even in the face of millions of dollars in cuts to federal funding for violence intervention and gun violence prevention under your administration, including to programs directly credited with lowering rates of homicide and other violent crimes in our state and local communities, we continue to invest in proven strategies that help us build safer, more vibrant neighborhoods. If there's anything Maryland has proven over the last 2 years, it's that we can achieve performance without being performative. Progress requires the right tool for the right mission. Asking the patriotic citizen soldiers of our National Guard to police our cities doesn't meet that test. As part of our broad approach to public safety, I regularly join community advocates and elected officials to walk through the neighborhoods most affected by violent crime. Grassroots leaders must play an active role in decision-making rather than being relegated to talking points deployed in backroom partisan debates. I would like to formally invite you to attend our next public safety walk in September. At a date of your choosing, we would be joined by the Baltimore City Mayor, the Baltimore State's Attorney, elected officials, local law enforcement, and community groups. In Maryland and in Baltimore, you will find people who share the same commitment to public safety that I have and who want to be part of the solution, not the problem. We look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, Wes Moore. I thought that was eloquent, and he stood his ground. Okay, all right. Let's get back to Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump tweets. Governor Wes Moore of Maryland has asked in a rather nasty and provocative tone that I, quote, walk the streets of Maryland, unquote, with him. I assume he is talking about out of control crime ridden Baltimore. As president, I would much prefer that he clean up his crime disaster before I go there for a quote walk, unquote. Westmore's record on crime is a very bad one, unless he fudges his numbers on crime like many of the other blue states are doing. But if Westmore needs help, like Gavin Newsom did in LA, I will send in the troops, that's in quotes too, which is being done in nearby DC, and quickly clean up the crime. Crime is capitalized for some reason. After only 1 week, there is, and this is all caps, no crime and no murder in DC. When it's like that in Baltimore, I will proudly, quote, walk the streets, unquote, with the failing because of crime governor of Maryland. P.S. Baltimore is ranked 4th worst city in the nation in crime and murder. Stop talking and get to work, Wes. I'll see you then on the streets. I also gave Westmore a lot of money to fix his demolished bridge. I will now have to rethink that decision. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Make America great again. That's all caps. President DJT. All right. Finally, this is from Westmore. He's tweeting back. President Bone Spurs will do anything to get out of walking, even if that means spouting off more lies about the progress we're making on public safety in Maryland. Hey, Donald, we can get you a golf cart if that makes things easier. Just let my team know. Love it. Q. You first.
No notes, man. I wish what the president does wasn't so effective.
Yeah.
Because as funny as this is, more than 70 million people subscribe to his flat lies.
Yeah.
Like we've said and now echoed through multiple segments on today's
show and every other show. Yeah.
He takes advantage of the fact that his base will blindly follow. Mm-hmm. They will take everything he's saying as true and as fact, even though all of it wouldn't even require scholastic research, a simple Google search or into any AI chatbot, but Google, because the AI chatbots use a lot of energy to produce those results. And you'd get the answers to these questions that he flatly lies about. But because he knows that's not required, he can tell them to look over there and they'll look. And while they're looking, he'll rob them and steal from them and pilfer and grift. And then by the time they look back, he has everything that he needs and he'll change the subject. It's an unfortunate truth. I'm glad people like Governor Westmore and Governor Gavin Newsom are starting to stand up to him and play his game the way that he plays it, even though people seem to be upset about him holding up or about him having the mirrors held up to him. When anybody other than him does what he's doing, people readily recognize it as wrong.
If I may, for people that do subscribe to Donald Trump's version of reality, where he makes up the data, makes up the numbers, makes up the narrative, and they just subscribe to it. Donald Trump was famous when he got elected. Donald Trump was famous for being Donald Trump, a businessman who launched a lot of businesses and failed spectacularly. And those two extremes was why he was in the news. Outside of that, he tried to make himself a playboy and a movie star and whatever else, any way he could get some attention. But people that have long memories of Donald Trump know that Donald Trump's failures, Donald Trump's many instances of taking advantage of people, lying over and over again, right? And I'm saying politicians lie, full stop. But Donald Trump specifically, for his voter base to take everything this man says as the gospel truth is like, it's beyond willful ignorance. It has to be. Like there's no shadow of doubt in your mind that Donald Trump might be the person lying. He fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So Donald Trump is telling the truth and she was lying, and that's the part that like, it just, I'll finish it later because I'm going to have to.